You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again, and man, we have a true honor talking to a Dallas, Texas native, Mr. Shaddowmusic himself. He's not just a saxophonist, but he is a music artist and NFT creator and leader of the Shaddowryderz army. So you have an army with you, man. That's what's up. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Shaddow, for being on the show, man. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, brother. Just loving the Texas weather. You know, it was raining a little bit today, but once again, you know what they say in Dallas: if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It's gonna change.
Yeah, I definitely heard that before, man. And it's funny because I'm in San Antonio, so it's kind of similar. Like you just wait a few more minutes, it's probably gonna be snow or something. So
yeah.
So man,
Max,
tell us, man, about your music career before we dive into the whole NFT creator thing. Tell us, how did you get into music? Who inspired you? What were some of your influences?
yeah. So I got into music as early as when I was a kid. Listening to my parents play vinyl records. Man, they used to play Al Jarreau. I was just texted my dad earlier this week. I sent him an Al Jarreau song that I found on YouTube called After All. And I bet you it made him smile because he called me later that day. He wanted to talk. But yeah, like Al Jarreau was real big with my family, with my parents. You got jazz greats like Stevie Wonder counts as R&B and jazz great. A lot of Stevie Wonder, Ronnie Laws, some of the Shy Lights, some of that old school stuff. The All Stars, Maceo Parker on sax, and but in particular, there was this one record, bro, that my pops used to love to play. It was from Ronnie Laws. And it was the Pressure Sensitive album. And there was a song on there called Tidal Wave. And it's just like the smooth saxophone sound that he was playing on. And I remember when my parents wasn't fighting, because, it was rocky. They had a, rocky relationship that I recall. They ended up getting divorced. But when they wasn't fighting, they be sitting there just listening to that song. And Tidal Wave was one of those ones that used to just really just mellow them out. And then they like chill and they make up or whatever. And I remember as a kid, I was like, okay, so this makes them feel joyful. So maybe I ought to look into doing what this guy's doing on this record. And so the first saxophone I ever got, we went to a pawn shop, man. I remember it was $300. Had leaks in it, everything. Had problems on it, but hey, it was a start. And I started by just listening to the records and trying to copy them.
And what was that process like of trying to copy the records? Were you self-taught, or were you getting lessons from an instructor or anything as far as learning how to play and read sheet music, or what was that process like?
So it started out, I was just listening to the records. And I remember sitting in my parents' bed with the saxophone trying to figure it out. And the record be playing, and I'll be like trying to blow on it and trying to figure out how to do the mouthpiece and everything. And my dad, he knew a guy that had married one of my aunts. Oh, this is good. This is like some good memory coming back. And actually, we still in contact with him. I haven't talked to him in a minute, but his name is Kelvin Easters, right? So this is in North Dallas area too. So this was in over by Love Field Airport. They had a house over there. So my dad used to take me to Kelvin's house and just drop me off at his house. And Kelvin, he taught me the basics how to just slow the record down, listen to it. He showed me how to put the mouthpiece on the horn right. He demonstrated how the jazz sounds like, because there's a difference between jazz sound and classical. And so that's when I got my first real instruction. So that's like in Black culture, in old jazz culture, that's how the greats learned. They didn't have classical training. You had some greats that came along that had classical training later, but that's how a lot of them started. So that was my first real type of training. And then later on, I didn't get to like high school until I got some formal classical training. And when I got to high school, that's when I learned how to actually read sheet music, run the scales, the classical way, and function inside of a symphonic band and stuff like that. And but I always remember, I was like, man, that's how squares play. That's what Kelvin used to say. That's how squares play classical. You don't play jazz, you play like this. So,
and for I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, for the audience, when you say that, now unpack that, because it sounds like you have one side that's all about creativity and being outside the box, right? And then you have another side that's giving you the A, B, C, D, the practicals, the inside the box of structure of how to play music. But you have another side that expands from that box. Unpack that for the audience.
Yeah, so the square way would be the inside of the box way of playing. And it's limited. You can't go outside of what the sheet music says to do. And classical music notates how loud you should play, how soft you should play, how short the note is, how do you attack and release the note. It's very structured. It's very mechanical, very mechanical, very methodical. Now, using that method, you can come up with some very beautiful pieces of music that are very well organized, like symphony orchestras, the stuff you hear in the movies. That's classical style. It's very beautiful. But there are, I would say, creative limits to that. It's very industrialized. You can have moments inside of classical music where you're free. If you're a soloist in the piece, they give you some room to express yourself. And then all they give you at that point is chords to base your solo off of. You have to just make sure the chord that they put on the page, like for instance, like an E flat 7 chord, that's like a chord with just 4 notes in it. And you stick to that, you can't go outside of that. Or you can play a scale that fits that. Now, all that I said was very structured, but when you don't play the square way, when you play the jazz way, the free way, all you're given is pretty much a skeleton to work with. We call that, we call those charts, or you read out of a fake book. But usually the way that is taught traditionally in jazz style, how it is in African American culture, you have to learn the standard. You have to memorize the standard. And then once you memorize the standard, or just memorize how the song goes, you will know how it sounds when it's time to change. But that's the only framework you have. So what that does is open the whole thing up on a spiritual level. I like to say it's very spiritual once you leave the box, because now you're not worried about where you are on the sheet music. You can close your eyes and hear. You don't even have to have your eyes open. You can just hear and feel what the other musicians are doing in real time, and you get into a flow state where your spirit kind of take over, because you're taking a solo And you're sweating bullets at first. It's always very exhilarating. You're sweating bullets because you don't know what's coming next, you know, but it's spiritual and it's outside of the box. And when you record music like that, you get some stuff that has never been done.
Once again, listen to I'm Refocused Radio, talking to Shaddowmusic. Shaddowmusic, man, you just said something right there, because like it's like the show. The show can be very scripted and we can stay inside the box, or we just go with the flow wherever the dialogue goes towards and leads us to. And I think that's very important, because yes, you can have some structure because it's like your fundamentals, right? But then you have your creativity of going beyond the structure. How have you been able to apply that? Because when you released your first project commercially, what was that like? Did you use a lot of techniques from your classes and your creative mentor, or how did you put your project together, your early projects?
The earliest project that was recorded professionally, that got put into the marketplace as a record, was a perfect mix of both. I'll tell you the story. This was when I was in Korea, right? And it was with the Korean folk band that is known as Windy City. And so I got over to Korea playing with the US Army band as a saxophonist. And when I wasn't playing for them, I was gigging, and I made friends with this band, and they were signed to a label. So I got to go on like big concerts playing with them. So as a gift, they let me record my first single in their studio, nice studio. And so I had my first son by that time. And so I had written this song, and my first son's name is Dojun. He's half Korean, half black. And I just wrote down the song. It was called Dojun's Idea. And then because he was small, but he used to hum melodies and stuff while sometimes I take him with me. So he hummed the melody one time, and I was like, that's dope. I'm gonna use that. And that was a very spiritual moment. So I used that structure, right? That was the spiritual part. And when we played the song, I was deeply in the zone. I was in a flow state. But the structured part came with the arrangement of the song, because the drummer, he said, okay, we're going to arrange the song. We're going to layer this song track by track. That's very structured and industry standard. So we did the drums first. We laid the auxiliary percussion next, did the keyboards, bass, and then I did the saxophone on top of that, and I went ahead and did some vocals too. And it was very, very structured and methodical. But at the same time, they knew who I was, and so they gave me space to be free in how I express myself with playing the lines and stuff.
Man, that's good.
So, yeah, it was very, very balanced, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump in there, but I had to, because I can't help but think of this like a metaphor of life. You know, you have certain fundamentals, certain structures, right, that help guide you to be successful if you're willing to learn and be educated, right? But then the other space of creativity, of expressing oneself, like owning up to your fingerprint, right? Like everyone has a signature about them. And when you embrace that along with the other structured guidelines, man, you can live a very, if you will, colorful, vibrant life versus a dull life.
Yes, this is true. And I think it's so important being a leader in being expressive and inspiring people to be who they are, be themselves. The world we currently live in, bro, it's like this world, this system, this matrix wants us to be more of this structured doorway. Be like everybody else. Sit in the cubicle. You know, everybody go drive a Tesla. I love Teslas. but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
um, they don't want you to venture outside of what they already have in place, because the stuff that they have in place works for their system. It makes them money. Their system of control over people. This system works for them. And being different and being tapped into your own soul and moving more towards that side of things, that spiritual side versus that structured side, they don't want that. So I think the balance is way off. It's more over here where it's too structured. And we need to get back to like a homeostasis of balance in all of humanity. And they shun you for being too original. You get banned on social media. You get banned on TikTok. Like if I was to say, I'm against feminism, I think we should have more masculinity in the world, I may get attacked for just saying something simple like that. But that's me being real. That's me being in the center of my divine masculine. It's balance. It's not being beta or whatever they call that, red pill, whatever.
You got a name for everything nowadays.
Yeah.
We got to make a whole list now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, they try to put you in a list. They try to put you in a category. Nah. We need to be leaders and inspire people not to be afraid to still be yourself.
Yeah, exactly, man. And once again, listen, I Refocus Radio, talking to Shaddowmusic. And that is a perfect segue to this next section on the show before we run out of time is you have you're the leader of Shaddowryderz Army. So tell me, what is all that about, man?
So Shaddowryderz Army is my fan club. And this is a global collective of people with the like minds and ideas as me. Now, the music and the music NFTs and all that stuff, that's what brings us together. But I share everything that I like to do and love to do outside of music with them. This t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, this is the logo for the Shaddowryderz Army. And so man, I don't have enough time to tell you all the symbolism in it, but it's just something that bonds us together. And we're an army because we band together, and we're starting a movement of creativity, uniqueness, originality, people who love music, people who love cars, people who love playing video games, people who like anime, people who like nature, people who like Star Wars, people who like occult knowledge, all of that in one group.
That's cool, man. And being able to have that kind of platform, because I keep hearing you talk about, inspiring and helping people to really just embrace who they are, but also you can live a structured life. But if you like eating pizza, all right, eat pizza. If you like barbecue ribs, eat barbecue ribs. You don't have to have this, what list am I going to fit in today?
Yeah. You can have a cheat day. You don't have to always be eating healthy every day. Have a cheat day sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Eat some pizza.
Right.
It's all right.
And that's what I'm getting at, because you can live a boring life if you keep settling for less versus, okay, I just had someone on my past show, he was talking about how he studied the greats of the greats, Serena Williams, the late Kobe Bryant, and all these celebrities that he's been studying, even ones that are still doing things today. And I only say that because Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. But he was making the point that when you surround yourself with people who are like-minded, but also are where you are striving to be, that's when you start getting that structure where they start showing the blueprints of life and the thinking process and the action steps that you're taking, the educational systems that you're getting. Some of it's going to be street smarts and some of it's going to be actually picking up a book. But what I'm getting at is you have that platform where you're creating that culture of a community that is always progressing to the higher level, the next level, versus we're just going to be boring, we're going to keep it safe, and we're going to do whatever everybody else tells us to do.
Right. Yeah. Staying in mediocrity is not cool. Now, the status quo says it's okay, but we need to be able to challenge the status quo. So you're right. You got to have a circle of people, mentors that are able to pull you up to that higher level. They may be better than you in all these areas, but you need to have people that's better than you in those areas so that you can aspire, they can pull you up and you can level up. You know, so important, so important. Facts.
And that's what you've been doing with your music, because I'm tying this as a full circle. Because when we go back and we listen to the show again, that's your homework assignment. Those listening right now, you talked about the young days, the early days, right, and how you first encountered music and the things you listened to, and then boom, someone you met, they shows you the feeling of music and the creativity of music. You didn't start out listening to someone just giving you the box of sheet music and this is what you cannot do. So what I'm getting at is having that opportunity to really think outside the box is what I'm getting from you, is where amazing things can happen in your life. In other words, for example, if you're a person that always settles for less, I'm just going to give this type of effort because this is what I'm used to getting, as far as results. So I'm never going to push myself, or I'm never going to surround myself with people that's going to require more out of me, because greatness requires structure. It requires, what's the word I'm looking for? It requires structure. It requires you to be committed, because you ain't going to commit to giving up, or you're going to commit to pressing forward and pressing on, because you only get to make those choices. You either give up or you press on. And when you press on, sometimes that means you had to have more requirements of yourself. Dang, I have to be committed to getting up earlier, or I have to actually do this work a certain way, because hard work is not great work unless it's smart work. Because I learned that from people who've been on the show as well. Smart work is allowing yourself to be around those people that, like you say in your words, can pull you up to the next level.
Right. Mentorship. I like what you said about that. You got to have commitment to have greatness, man. That's so true. I would say you got to have limit breaking ability. You got to be able to push past your limits. You can't be, the same, I'm always eating chicken nuggets and French fries every day. Nope. I got to go past that. Steak and shrimp now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta level up. I have to surpass my limit. Yeah. Yeah. And not giving up and persevering and standing up, getting back up, because you go fall. Suffering and struggle and hard times is part of it. You go fall. But as long as you get back, like the Japanese say, fall down 7 times, get up 8. As long as you keep getting up, that's the number one ingredient you need to be super successful, a great one. Because a lot of people, all the people that did not become great, they stopped getting up. They stopped getting up. They got knocked down real good. I mean, they got knocked down to the floor, in the mud, under the mud. They said, I can't get up this time. I'm going to stay down. I done got knocked down 1,101 times. I can't get up no more. I'm tired. But the one that was great, he got up 2 million times. He went past 1 million. He kept getting up.
Man, once again, this is Unofficially Radio, talking to our guest for today, the one and only Shaddowmusic. And man, I have to get this in before we wrap up. When it comes to NFTs, real quick, we got a little bit more time. What are NFTs for those like me who don't know anything about them? And how have you witnessed that opportunity being able to change the music industry?
Okay, so real quickly, NFT is called a non-fungible token. It's a form of cryptocurrency. But unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is just coins that you put in your wallet, a non-fungible token is the ability to take anything and turn it into tokenize it. And so you can take a piece of art and take it and turn it into a Mona Lisa painting. so that this piece of art is the only piece of art that's out there that's like this and that has this specific receipt to it. Now, it has authenticity. So when someone buys it, they can claim that it is the original by the tokenized cryptocurrency stamp that's been placed on it. So I could have a Shadow Lisa painting, right? I make a painting of myself right here. I can say today, what is this? September the 2nd was the day that I made this a painting. And this is the only copy. And you can get it for 20,000 Bitcoin. Somebody will buy it and it has value. This is a piece of art that appreciates the value. Now, if somebody else wants to buy it, they have to bid you for a higher price than 20,000 Bitcoin. Now, so when you apply that to music, it changes the game because these are digital assets. So you can turn an MP3 or a high quality WAV file into an NFT. And now you don't have to charge 99 cents like they do on the streaming platforms, Apple Music. You can charge $5. The highest I've ever been paid for NFT music, piece of music, I collaborated with two other gentlemen. We did an auction and it sold for 400 tezos, which is a cryptocurrency. Yeah, so 400 tezos is worth about $630 US. That's off of one song. Now, that disrupts the music industry because you can play that song on cryptocurrency platforms that operate just like Spotify. Now, that makes record labels scared because now you can't bully artists. It's the internet. We can just take our song, upload it to this platform, charge what we want. If people buy it, now we can go buy groceries and live our life and we don't have to starve. Change the game.
Man, I mean, you're talking about a cliffhanger. I hate to hang up on this part because there's so much things that I can explore as far as questions about NFTs. But you have a Discord, and
yes,
this is something I will put in the link in the description on this podcast show episode. Is this a topic that you also discuss with the people that join your fan club there?
Absolutely. I encourage them to buy the NFTs. If you bought an NFT from me, the first thing I'm gonna tell you to do is join the Discord, because inside the Discord, that's where I reward people who are fans who actually patronize me with perks, and I can deal those out just for them inside the Discord. Now, we also have lots of other stuff we talk about in the Discord, like we talked about earlier. But to answer your question, yes, NFTs are discussed in the Discord a lot. And I invite everybody that's listening, hey, please join us on Discord. It's free to join. You can chop it up with me and the Shaddowryderz and get you an NFT and talk about music some more and hang out, do all that stuff.
Well, once again, being having a true honor here on Army Focus Radio, talking to our special guest for today, the one and only Shaddowmusic. Man, it was a great conversation. I know there's going to be probably maybe another time in the future where we can probably chop it up again and maybe dive even deeper into NFTs if there's any updates and how artists themselves, maybe we can do a show on artists themselves trying to position themselves to be able to do what you're doing, so that way they can experience a little bit more financial freedom and just possible more exposure. Because it sounds like, too, you're exposing your music to even more people who are interested in this whole movement of NFTs.
Absolutely. It's growing, man. Like we said, it's changing the music game. The music industry is disrupted now.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Maybe in the future, maybe whenever you have another time slot in the future, man, we can dive deeper into this and maybe break it down for the music artists out there who maybe they're interested in NFTs and find out how they can use that for their career. Because I think if that's what it is and you're experiencing it, then it'd be great for us to have another class session for people who want to level up like you. Yeah,
I'll be happy to share, bro. I got resources in my my link tree. You can take a NFT masterclass. I'm going to put another link in there to teach people about cryptocurrency. But I will be happy to come back.
Awesome,
happy to come back on Shaddowryderz show.
Man, first and foremost, man, Shaddowmusic, I know you're busy, you're doing big things. I want to say thank you for taking time in your schedule, man, talking to I Am Refocused Radio, man.
Man, hey, man, it's a pleasure, man. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me, bro.